I am in a different place this week. Last week it was Berlin. This week it's London. And I guess we're just touring around as many podcast studios as we can find and gathering anyone off the street, really. So here we have, actually, what I wanted to get you guys to do is introduce each other.
I knew
because you're best friends. So, Dom, do you want to start?
Yeah. This is Austin Spoon. I was going to say Austin Spoon. This is Austin Phillips. He's a Steadicam operator from London. And yeah, he's shit hot.
Great.
That's a pretty good review.
What are you going to say back?
Everyone, this is Dominic Lake, esteemed director of photography and my best friend.
Oh,
that's really
one
sweet.
was more wholesome than the other, but
Yeah.
it worked. And I think that best represents your personality. So, okay, you guys have already known each other 18 months. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No? Yes?
Yeah, no, that's about right. Yeah.
Okay. And you met on set or where?
We were trying to find a house at the same time, and we'd already linked up on Instagram. Accidentally got our house together.
Yeah.
We did one job before we moved in together, didn't we?
Uh,
Maybe two.
yeah, we did 2 jobs before we moved in together. And then, yeah, we've been housemates since.
And this was when you were a camera assistant or you were already opping?
I was operating, yeah.
Okay, sweet. Do you op as well as Steadicam or? Okay, great.
Yeah.
And how often do you hire him?
Yeah.
I mean, it was often.
And then what happened?
I just haven't really had the need for Steadicam recently.
And
Okay.
he likes to operate himself
Okay,
in traditional fashion,
got it.
And I
which
just
makes sense because
love-
it is the best job in the room.
Yeah, operating handheld's great. I love it.
Don't hold that against you.
We did talk about this actually. So I met both of these guys at Camerimage on separate years. So I met Dom like 6 years ago at this point, I think, probably. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
And then Austin and I met through Dom about a week ago, which is crazy that we're all here, sitting here, recovered enough to have a podcast.
Recovered enough. We should talk about Camerimage, actually.
I know I'm doing a roundup with Haley, but I think we could probably get it started here if you wanted to do a debrief. How
I'm
would
not
you,
sure how much we can talk about on here.
as much as you want.
Okay.
Is that so?
Yeah, because I just choose what I want to edit out because I edit it. So yeah.
Okay, fine.
How would you? Okay, if you want to talk about Camerimage, how would you describe it to someone who's like new to the industry? What is it?
I think it is. I mean, if you're new to the industry completely, then it's definitely somewhere to go to kind of get a vibe for what the industry's like. You're going to meet a shitload of people. You're going to have a load of fun. You're going to drink a hell of a lot. And yeah, it's just it's really good when you're young. And well, it's good. It's good whatever age you are, but especially when you're young, it's a really good place to be and to be around those kind of people.
Mm-hmm. This was your second time, right?
No, this was my third time.
The third. So
Yeah.
I met you the
Veteran.
second year you went.
I think we met in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Both years, so 16 and 17.
Oh, and how would you compare it? Because I'll get to you in a second, Austin. But how would you compare it? Like when you were younger, just starting out, versus now you have more of a career as a DP, obviously. So
I think when I was younger, it was very different. It was a lot more of a hustle. You were kind of just. I saw a lot more stuff. I went to a lot more film screenings, and I was less involved in the kind of networking aspect of it. But it's a really good. I just remember it being really good for my like knowledge of like who's who and meeting DPs that were coming up or even older DPs. Like I was in rooms and in conversations with DPs that are ASC, BSc at such a young age that it really helped me kind of make early decisions for my career and what kind of route I should go down. I'll get into name dropping them later, but yeah, I just think that's. Yeah, I don't know. It's good. It's good if you're young.
yeah. And then Austin, this was your first time, right?
It was, yeah.
And how were you convinced into coming to this?
Tom said that it was really good fun, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to go and see some new films. I had a chance to probably go see some that I probably wouldn't buy a ticket for in the cinema. And I think watching films that you wouldn't necessarily go and watch on like your own terms is quite important.
Okay.
As someone who makes films.
Yeah.
And also just a really nice time with your mates who you spend a lot of time with at work but don't necessarily have time to see outside of work. So kind of like I wouldn't say networking at all. I'd say hanging out with mates and probably making new friends who have similar interests.
Got it. And then expectations of like where you thought it was going to be versus now you're back. You can reflect on it.
Yeah, it's like way more fun and chilled than I thought it was going to be. I thought it would be a bit more like intense networking wise. Tom's repoing.
Yeah.
He's not happy with that, with his hang.
Sorry.
Yeah, nice. Let's start again. Expectations versus like what you heard it was going to be and reflecting on it now.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I did hear that it was going to be quite a big party, which it didn't disappoint. It was a good party. Yeah, and just like meeting loads of new people that you wouldn't expect to meet as well, and losing at games of pool against everyone.
That's great. Yeah, what I always loved about Camerimage, and this was my 7th year, I think, is that there's like no ego associated with anyone. So you can kind of go and have whatever expectations, and I think those are fulfilled to some extent because you can get into a variety of conversations that are pretty chill. So, and you know, that's how we met, and now we're sitting here. So it's great.
Yeah, and I think like what Dom said as well, it's like if you're younger, in particular, you get to share the room with all these people who have made amazing films and like done amazing things, and it's like a great place to learn, and you know, maybe not so much if you're a veteran in your career in your field, but yeah, I think it's quite good if you're starting out.
And you guys decided to come with like a pretty large group of friends.
Well,
it became larger when we were there, I think.
Yeah,
that was the thing. Like we didn't really plan to meet half these people, but it just so happened that, you know, old faces, new faces were there. So
yeah. Now this is our first time. Obviously, this podcast is quite new. It's our first time here in London, and what that means is that I haven't heard a lot about the like British film industry, English market. Like
this is really good. This is a really good conversation because I wrote this down yesterday. I thought this would be really good to chat about. Yeah,
because it is. So, I mean, even when I talked to Anna, who's one of my best friends, who's a DP, who you guys have met, we're always comparing like what are the rates, like what are the standard, like having operators, how many crew you have on set, like the types of projects that are happening, like the pattern of handheld versus Steadicam, or like being on dolly, like all of this stuff on different budget levels varies so much. And so I did want to kind of get into that because it is a huge difference in market. So have you both grown up here?
Yeah.
I grew up in Cambridge.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been in London for 10 years.
Ever worked in the American market?
Nope.
No.
Australian market?
No.
Egyptian market?
No.
Nope.
Just here?
I had quite a bizarre kind of path. I always knew that I wanted to be a DP, but I dabbled in like being a spark and...
Oh, got it. So we have... Oh, this is perfect because we have 2 different routes. We have like camera route and we have like electric, gaffing, lighting route.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so AC thing.
Mm.
Knowing your worth is like a huge thing that we always talk about on this podcast, and like understanding kind of what your minimum is that you're not going to say I'm going to go below, especially for rates. 250, when you're saying aim for the commercial rate, when you were starting out, were you aiming for that commercial rate and getting it a lot of the time, or were people fighting you back on that?
No, like my first year was a really difficult year, and yeah, there was a lot of hustling and doing all sorts of stuff, you know, like jobs are ranging from low budget promos, free promos, and like small fashion films and that kind of stuff. Like started very much in short form, so that was mostly my experience. And then as I got a bit more experience as a trainee, did like more like dailies and dramas and stuff. But I've not really done like long form for like a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I've just jumped in and out really.
How many of the like free kind of promos did you have to take before you were like, this is my rate and I'm not like working for free anymore?
Again, it was always a bit flexible depending on who you were working for. That's the thing. And it's like
new director you want to work with, or new DP,
more
or
like DPs and focus pullers as a trainee.
Mm-hmm.
They're the people that I was trying to impress.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and a lot of the time I find like whenever I did people favors, they'd pay me back.
Yeah.
And so that would always pay off, and I'm still have relationships with those people today. So doing like, I don't know what the culture is like in the States about doing free work when you're starting out, but I was a student, and so I was getting a student loan from the government, and so I could afford to do free jobs. Like,
do you have to pay back those loans here?
Very slowly.
Okay, yeah, it's very different.
It's a very weird situation.
Yeah, and your interest rates are no interest rate?
I actually don't know.
That's insane. I love
Yeah.
that.
I think he does know, but there's tax reasons that he just doesn't want to dive on.
Yeah, it's like for entertainment purposes only. Yeah. Who was your first contact in the industry? Who got you your first job?
Well, it was people from uni really,
Oh, okay.
but actually, the first person that really like took me under his wing was Chris Randak, focus puller.
Still a focus puller?
I think so.
You still
I
follow each
suppose-
other on Instagram?
He's not really an Instagram guy.
Ooh, he's one of those.
Yeah, he did a lot for me, helped me learn, and as several people have over the course of coming through the camera department, but he was the first.
Amazing. And then, okay, so Spark. You started as a Spark.
No, I actually, what happened? I came straight out of sixth form, which is kind of like college for 17 to 18-year-olds.
Got it.
And you get these things called A-levels, which are like the highest school qualification you can get.
Got it.
And then I came straight out of sixth form, and then I went to Soho, and I was a runner in Soho in post-production.
Oh, interesting. How did you find that?
I hated it.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times when I really liked it, but I think
you really developed your tea making skills in that time.
yeah, I went on like a fucking half-day barista course because we had to make. I was 18, 19 at the time, and I didn't really know how to get into the industry. I was just trying to figure it all out.
I mean, yeah, that's a huge route, especially in the American market, and probably here is like even just PAing to figure out like where you want to be, and like it's the easiest job to get because there's so many productions and so easy to just like hop on board or get a contact. So
yeah, I think just trying to figure out what the industry's like and not necessarily the hierarchy, because I really dislike that word, but to figure out how things work and how things run early on is like a really valuable thing.
Yeah. I remember when I was I studied in Scotland, and I did like a film program. Don't ask me why, I don't know why, but in Edinburgh. And I remember like when I was a PA on sets at the beginning, it was like the most difficult part of that job was figuring out how long people wanted their tea bags in for. So like the makeup artist.
And some people just want them left in.
Yeah.
Some people, well, no, and the
Psychopaths.
opposite. I remember
they just wanted to see the bag.
The makeup artist. I remember she was like, but like just really quick, and I was like, I can do it for you. Like she was doing something. I was like, I can do it for you. Like how long do you want it in? And I'm like, I put it in. She's like, out, and it was just like, she said, can you make a new one? And I'm like, oh my god, yeah, sure, no worries. So it was like all milk in like water, and then it was just like literally like I won't even forget. The bag like barely went in. Like it just like. And yeah, that was wild to me. That was like absolutely wild. And then I'm like one of the people that want it in.
People are quite particular.
I keep it
about
in.
Tea.
But that was
this guy in particular.
Oh really? Yeah.
I wasn't much of a tea drinker until we moved in together.
Oh, I heard about your honey, right?
Yeah.
Your special honey
going there.
that you
We're not
use.
going there.
Yeah. Okay, so you were a barista, runner, post
Yeah,
production.
did a little course. It was quite funny actually.
How did you escape post?
Learned how to. Oh, hang on, I'll get into that. Learned how to
I have no idea.
steam different types of coffee. It's fantastic. Anyway, and then I started training to. Well, I say started training. I was very, very weak at it. I started taking like colorist, we always used to call it like training, colorist training or whatever. And you would sit in with like one of the colorists at the post
Shadow
house.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would teach you like all the bells and whistles and what the balls and everything do. Which was cool because at the time I was thinking, if I'm going to stay in post, then I would love to venture into being a colorist. And then I was always shooting things outside of that. And I kind of started doing like little corporate jobs and shit like that. And at the same time, I was like, oh shit, maybe I should actually kind of venture into that route, and then stopped being a runner because it was just tough. And then I learnt that, okay, there's hierarchy involved in, I keep saying that word.
I know,
There's different routes.
It's there, like it's a thing.
What's a new word? How do we want to appropriate
different routes, different levels.
Multifaceted career
the
path.
system.
Yeah, the system, yeah.
Yeah, and then I learned that you've got your different routes. You've got, trainee, spark, trainee, camera trainee, go down the camera route, go down the lighting route, or go down another completely different route and still find yourself in the same position. I was like, okay, cool. Let me try and do some spark stuff. And then, some friends started swinging me work, and I did a bit of spark training, and then became a spark for a brief while. I would say it was probably like 18 months to 2 years. At the whole time, I just always knew that this just wasn't for me.
And how many jobs had you done as a spark in that span of time?
not as many as I really wanted to, because I wasn't a very diligent Spark.
Meaning what?
I was very outspoken, and that's just not. It's not the vibe. Like, you shouldn't really be like that. You should
toe the line.
You need to toe the line. Like as a Spark, I was kind of making suggestions that I probably shouldn't have been making and stuff like that.
Because you knew you're like,
you should hire me.
I just knew my heart was never in it.
Yeah.
Although I loved learning and I loved seeing other DPs work and stuff like that, I just knew that my heart just wasn't in it, and I was always going to get out very soon.
But you must have been learning, a ton about lighting styles and the units you were liking and what you would never fucking use again.
Yeah, I think I already knew a lot, and I don't really know why. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I'll sit at home and just research shit all the time. And
where are you researching shit all the time?
YouTube, cinematography forum.com or whatever it is, or Reddit, or the cinematography forum. I think it's just called cinematography.com.
Yeah,
actually.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It is an incredible tool.
It's like a Reddit for cinematography, right?
Yeah.
It's like
there's like a Steadicam version as well, which is actually like
what?
It's pretty dead now, but like if you need things that are less less gear specific, then it's quite a good place to go and find.
What's it called?
Oh, I can't remember.
We'll have to drop it below.
Steadicamforum.com.
I'll get it after from you. Yeah. So I'm like of the exact opposite mindset. And I know you were like, this is going to a lot of people are going to disagree. And I'm probably just one of those people. But I don't crew. I never really crewed. And when I did crew, it was never with producers I knew I was going to work with, because my fear is a producer always seeing me as that thing forever. And so if they're meeting me as a second, and obviously you're proving my point wrong, right? But if they were meeting me as a second, or they were meeting me as a key grip or something, that's how they're going to know me. And it's like, well, why would I hire you when you've been working with my DPs? Because I believe solidly in the hierarchy. And so I guess you're breaking down walls, Dom.
Well, as we know, he doesn't believe in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
But
Except the system.
So I was going to say that it's a lot different in camera department. So I think that's probably why you can get away with it in lighting, because Sparks seem to just rotate, kind of you can just there's a bit more freedom to move around in lighting, whereas in camera it's more of a hard step up.
Yeah,
once you step up, you don't step down. Because of that reason that you said, you don't want to be seen as
anything other than that
than
thing you're trying to be.
Yeah.
I think it's worth noting that this is kind of a strictly short form type scenario. Long form is still very, very much you have to go your traditional routes. So
when did, and this applies for both of you, but when did you say the cutoff? Because when I was growing up in camera department, everyone was like you were saying, you have to be I'm not a second anymore, I'm gonna lose work, I'm gonna lose money, but I'm now a first, and I'm only taking that on. At what point did you guys say now I'm a Steadicam up, and now I'm a DP? And I'm not taking anything else.
When the balance tipped, really, because as an operator, I think everyone, particularly as when I've been operating on the side of ACing for years, just to doing lots of live music stuff and B-cam stuff for people, and I think that's a bit more accepted. But not having any real movements to step up until I bought a Steadicam, started learning that, and then that was the real. This is where I'm going to fully step up. That was the moment for that.
Okay.
So really, just when I felt comfortable enough in the rig that was that was going to be my bread and butter.
Did you learn practically on set, or did you go to courses? How did you learn?
Did a course. I also spent a lot of time when I was in AC, just whenever I had an opportunity, jumping in the rig. I was lucky enough to work with some really great operators and friendly guys who were just so happy for me to get in the rig in any downtime that we had. So I had a lot of practice that way, and then even sort of just going around to one operator in particular was super, super nice to me, and went around to his house before my rig arrived. It been the whole process had been slowed down over COVID, and I'd go around to his house and put the rig on and chase his kids around the garden in it, and he's giving me awesome advice, and it was so I've had lots of support from operators who I met while I was ACing.
And with your rate, you don't have to reveal your rate, but with that rate when you started out, when you first got into the rig, was it sat lower, or were you from the get-go just like, this is the standard and I want to be seen as like the standard of what it is?
No, I mean, if you do that, you're kind of closing a lot of doors.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you should try and get to the rate straight away or as quickly as possible, but it's just not going to happen. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Because why would someone pay the full rate for me with 2 months experience when they could pay the same rate for someone who's been doing it for 20 years?
Yeah.
So there is a balance though. There has to be a point where you're like,
this is my minimum.
This is it now.
Yeah.
Like, I've got enough experience that I'm worth that full rate.
Yeah. And how do you determine your experience? Like level of just like, this is the time? Is it number of projects based off of like, I've worked with all of these DPs? Or is it like, I've worked on, X amount of long form, so now for long form it's that rate?
I think it's more about how I feel.
Okay.
It's about more how I feel in the rig and how I feel as an operator and what I've learned.
Okay.
And as my experience as opposed to who I've worked with and what jobs I've done.
What do you feel like you're lacking right now in your skill level, your skill set?
Like specifics or?
Yeah.
Like lots of like hard mounts and soft mounts. Not done that.
What are a hard mount and soft mount?
So you see, so soft mount is like you're wearing the vest and you're still in the rig, and you might sit on the back of like a vehicle and then step on, step off, that sort of thing.
Got it.
Soft mounted to a crane where you can walk on and walk off. Hard mounted is where your arm is mounted directly to whatever grip you're on, like a rickshaw or something.
And having
like
to click into it or something.
Yeah, so you're not wearing the vest.
Yeah,
That's the key thing. So the arm is, everything's mounted to the
how interesting.
The vehicle.
That's like a next level situation. Wow.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's more just like, finding the right job for it.
Yeah.
I've definitely had jobs where I could have or should have done that, but I didn't have all the details beforehand of the job. I get there and then I get a shock and I'm like, oh, that should be a soft mount.
Yeah.
That should be a hard mount.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, something I actually really wanted to mention was that as a Spark, I was going to Camerimage, and I'd been and I was going, and I did that twice, and that was kind of at the same time. It was like a bit of a crossover.
So you're learning from those huge workshops and master classes.
Exactly, yeah, and but also most valuably was meeting. I had a really incredible conversation with Paul Cameron. If you don't know Paul Cameron, he's an incredible DP. I actually think he's directing now. He shot all of Westworld. He shot loads of big films as well, of course. But he shot all of Westworld, and I think he's now moved into directing Westworld, which is great.
That's cool.
And yeah, I had a really good long chat with him, and we continued our conversation after we'd left Poland, and we ended up Skyping backs and forwards, and he said that he was like, if you want to be a DP, then you just need to go out there and just eat it up. You just need to go and do it and make your mistakes, learn, meet people. You're only gonna really find yourself as a DP and your style and who you are by going out there and doing it.
So he was your first mentor?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't say that. I'd say we just had conversations that kind of really helped me make good decisions, and it came from Camerimage. So if you're young, definitely a place to be.
I started going when I was 17, so
that's crazy.
I know.
It's
I mean,
wild.
I used to just like attack those airy master classes and every fucking workshop I could take.
Notepad and pen at the ready.
Legitimately, yes. Like I was like, when we talk about being nerds, I feel like I was always there just like early. Yeah. I was like coming from something else and I'd stand for 8 hours to just watch it and learn it, because like I didn't know anything about lighting. I was very like strong in camera, but I didn't know anything about lighting. And if you're DP, you know everything is lighting. So yeah, no, that's such like, that's why I'm always a huge advocate for Poland, because it's like a cheap thing for students to do, and it's like just like incredible amount of resources for you for an entire like 8-9 days.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like Dom says, it's not even just the master classes and the seminars. It's getting a snippet of advice from someone who's got crazy experience, Yeah. It's cool, useful.
Yeah. So transitioning out of Spark, so was it the conversations with Paul Cameron you were having that then was like, I should really just DP? Yeah,
I think I needed to just go and do it. I needed to sort of try and stop being a Spark, meet the people that I needed to meet along the way, and then eventually getting opportunities from producers that I'd met and directors and stuff, and it kind of it worked. I'm trying to think when I shot my first big kind of, I wouldn't say big, the budget was like 35 grand.
Mm-hmm.
But as a young DP, I was like 24 or something. That was pretty big for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I shot that, I think it was like early 2019.
And that was commercial music video promo.
It was a commercial for an app.
Oh, cool. Do you
Um,
like it? Do you look back on it and you like it? Is it in your reel still?
I think it might be.
Oh,
I think
okay.
there are some frames from it that look quite nice, but a lot that isn't
Yeah.
nice.
I don't know how you guys feel, but whenever I have to like do that dreaded like re-edit of the reel after I've shot a few things,
It's a laborious task.
I
and
don't
like,
have a reel.
oh really?
How bad is that?
Well, you have a good Instagram. I've checked it out. It's
Good.
very
It does.
good.
It does. have
Great
good
marketing. Good stuff. But
Thanks, I'm new to this, so
yeah, I love
it's
it.
all really unnatural.
it looks really, really good.
Thanks.
But yeah, the reel, I always kind of like feel sad when I'm like, finally this piece has to leave the reel. It's no longer good. But I'm also just like,
It's.
thank God I have other
Yeah.
stuff now. Like,
I think
but
it's
it's weird.
nice. Like
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I've been collecting stuff for a reel
Mhm.
for ages.
Yeah,
Like 2 years.
it's just a lot.
Just never done it.
I know. I mean,
I know what I want in there,
yeah,
but I haven't done it.
I know. Well,
But,
your
I mean,
Instagram
that's a
speaks
good-
for itself.
That's a good sign, though, right? I don't feel like
If you are working consistently enough that you don't feel like you need a reel because people are seeing your work or being referred by other people,
Yeah.
I think you're in a good place. Yeah. DPs. It's a little harder
it
sometimes.
is different. Yeah, for
especially
sure.
going in
That's-
between things.
That's key. That is so different.
Yeah. Building a reel. How many reels have you had?
I mean, I yeah, I try and do one every year, but I think in London having a reel is a bit of a grey area.
Oh, interesting. What do you mean?
Because I think either every DP has a reel, but they don't put it on their website,
Mm-hmm.
and they just pass it on.
There's a lot of like, sort of like request specifically for the reel,
Yeah.
and you'll get it rather than having it out there. I think.
That is so interesting.
which I find quite bizarre.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do kind of get it, because I think especially in short form, there's a lot of like, producers that I'm friends with and spoken to and stuff. They're very like, oh, we want a specific reel. We want a commercial
Yeah.
reel.
Yeah.
We want a promo reel.
Yes.
We don't want the two of them.
You don't want a narrative reel with like these long tracking shots where you're like, this is not the quick 30
No,
seconds
yeah,
I wanted.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like
Doesn't
$1
suit
million.
the beauty campaign or whatever it is. that
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's especially, I think, hard I hear for commercial, I'm mostly narrative and some music video, but for commercial, because everyone, in LA at least, a producer will only hire you if you've already shot the shot that they want. So
Interesting.
I remember one big commercial DP, he was up for this like huge, Super Bowl gig or something. And there was like a hand pouring, and the producer comes back and goes, oh, you had it with the left hand. Do you actually have a shot of someone pouring it with the right hand already? Like, because they had a shot with the right hand and it was all boarded out. And I was just
That's
like, that is
ridiculous.
insane to
Yeah.
me. Like, the amount of specificity that's required for commercial reels is kind of insane sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have both? You have a narrative and commercial, or are you just...
No, I'm still rocking the all-in-one at the minute.
Oh, yeah.
And I cannot stand sitting in front of a computer and editing a reel.
Mhm.
It's just
You do love sitting in front of a computer,
I like
Just
doing
doing
work
other
in front
things,
of a computer.
apparently. Doing other things.
I hate sitting in front of something.
playing shoot 'em ups on the
editing.
Rexy wheels. That's a new one.
Yeah, can we talk about this? So I heard you guys got a little purchase in the mail yesterday.
We did. We
What
bought
is that?
some Rexy wheels.
And what is that?
Essentially just practice wheels for learning geared heads and remote heads and stuff
Through games and
through games. Weirdly, bizarrely,
and
we haven't found the right game yet.
okay.
Shoot 'em ups are not good.
How many are there?
Oh, I don't know. There was like, well, you can use it for anything really, because it just controls the X and Y axis of the mouse.
Yeah. Do you live all with film people? You have 4 people in the house, right?
We've got one who isn't.
Okay.
We live with one other DP, and we'll get him on next time.
Yeah.
A third
Next
mic involved.
visit. I'm back in March apparently.
Perfect.
So yeah.
We could get the fourth guy in as well, but
Yeah.
he loves watching films, doesn't make them.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
that's
the
good.
voyeur in the house. Poor
We
guy.
need him.
Yeah.
He keeps it fresh.
That's
Stops
good.
us nerding out over kit and shots and lighting and stuff.
Do you have a kit room do you guys buy a lot of gear? I mean, I know you own your rig, but do you buy a lot of gear? Do you buy even more gear?
I have quite a lot of kit.
So, okay. Is that expected here?
It is expected.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Steadicam operator, you're expected.
Yes.
to
Is that
fully communicate,
not
of
in the
course.
States?
No. The rig is expected. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have cameras and lenses and stuff.
Okay,
Or
that's what I was
actually,
wondering.
No, Steve, our other housemate, does own a camera, but it lives at a rental house.
Okay, he sub-rents.
Yeah.
Nice.
But like, I've got the rig. I've got a second one on the way.
Mhm. Why?
For an MKV AR Omega is the full name.
Oh,
For
the
anyone who doesn't
360 5-axis head
That
or
one,
whatever. Yeah. Okay. That's with the longer arm that comes out too.
Yeah, longer posts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mega post.
A post.
Mega post.
It's got a mega post.
Amazing. I've only used that once on a music video I did in Greece last summer, and
Did
it
you like
was
it?
so fun.
Yeah.
Our shots were like really, really fun to cut together. I like doing things in camera,
Yeah,
and that allows you to do a lot of the stuff in camera.
for sure. And I think like it just opens up. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I don't want this to be a sales pitch, but I just really like
No,
that
it's
you can
good.
kind of put the camera anywhere with
Yeah.
it. And also I find myself when I'm on a job, if it's an AR job, I
Mhm.
find myself just picking up the rig and playing with it because it's fun.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't do that so much with Steadicam.
Okay.
I would do it, but not as much as I do with the AR.
What percentage right now are you Steadicam versus like normal cam up?
Probably like 80-20 Steadicam.
Great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which I do love. I love all kinds of operating, to be honest. So I'm not fussy about it.
Mm-hmm. He'll take it all.
How often do you offer up handheld for DPs?
And not
do
as
you-
much as I should.
Really?
You don't operate handheld for
yeah, but
DPs.
I
Is
think
this
in
what you
the
said?
UK, particularly in short form, it's kind of expected that the DPs tend to like to operate their own handheld.
This is something I talk with Anna about a lot.
Yeah, and
Be-
Dom
yeah.
likes to say that handheld is a very personal thing.
Yes, I've heard this spiel.
It's
over
really
breakfast.
subjective.
Yeah.
Spiel? Did you say spiel? It's really subjective. It's also just like it's just fun. It's like good raw fun. It injects like I don't know. Days when I know I'm going to work or I'm shooting a music video or something and I'm shooting handheld, I'm like, this is gonna be a fun day.
Yeah. Hopefully your setup's good. That's all that matters. It's well balanced and
Yeah.
it feels like weightless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good camera build is key for
Yeah.
handheld.
Yeah. The I think this was actually like one of the biggest differences because I'd say like 90% of my work I'd say 95% of my work I have an operator with me like the whole time, even for handheld, and I'll just take it when I want to have fun, but like very quick to give it back when I don't want it.
Yeah.
But when I talk to Anna, and she does like a lot of like promos, commercial stuff, music videos, and she's like never worked with a cam op until this previous like Harrods thing, but that was only like because she needed like steady cam ops.
Oh, I think I was up for that job.
Oh my god.
Really?
Yeah,
the Dior one.
the Dior and
Yeah, the
Harrods.
gingerbread one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
get it?
Well, a mate of mine who was injured recently, he stuck me in case he couldn't do it, but he recovered. He's
I
been
know,
out for a really long time.
Yeah, Anna, it was his first job back, I think, or
Yeah,
something.
Jake. Yeah.
Oh my god, you would have been on that. That's
Yeah, I
so
know.
funny.
Small
It's a
world.
small little market we have. But yeah, and so whenever I talk to Anna about it, she's like, no one would allow me to have an operator budget, first of all. And I like operating. And I think there's like a big difference there because there is a standard of like producers can expect you to say like I want an op on this, you know, but I guess it's not as common in the UK.
I feel like maybe, I don't know, Dom, what do you reckon? But I think maybe in the UK it's almost like producers expect the DP to operate.
Because you're like,
And
you
so-
can operate. Like,
and-
why aren't you
yeah,
operating?
and so as a DP, you're less inclined to try and fight for an operator to do handheld or sticks or a dolly or whatever it is. Or, because of that reason.
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But also, I'm less inclined to fight for it because
You enjoy it.
I
You enjoy
it.
it. Yeah.
So maybe we are the problem.
Oh, no problem.
Maybe we're the,
I'll just keep
For
doing
sure.
my own little thing in the corner with my operators. I just love, I mean,
I want to do your little thing in the corner
Yeah.
because
thanks.
that suits me.
Yeah. I mean, anytime. You're welcome anytime in LA.
Thank you.
Get a little visa. We'll get you on everything.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I know. When you've worked together in the past, how do you like to communicate on set?
I think our communication is great.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think you're one of the better operators that I've worked with that I can just gel with.
Literally first job that we did together. I thought we both communicated really well.
And then he never hired you again?
No, we've done
Hey.
shitloads of jobs.
We have done quite a lot of jobs.
Okay,
together.
got it.
But no, we actually really do communicate well.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how. Just like you're really concise with what you want, and that suits me.
Are you the type to be concise but also be like, okay, we got that, let's have a little freedom, try some stuff out? Or are you very like nitpicky of like, this is exactly what I want, let's not stray from that?
It is all dependent on the project, but I mean, yeah, if it needs something that I feel like I want, then we're going with that. But I mean, Austin's really good at offering up things.
Great.
You know, like if I'm like, okay, let's go low mode down here, and we're going to go from here to here, and all this kind of stuff, and Austin will be like, okay, but what if we try this? And I'll be like, okay, cool, yeah, let's give that a go. That sounds like it could work a lot better, and I really value that. And I think it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, the DP Steadicam or the DP operator relationship. But yeah, I mean,
it can be, but we make it look easy.
Nice. That's why you live together too.
Smooth.
Yeah.
I've lost my train of thought.
Do you want me to help you get back on the train?
Oh, it was a good one as well.
Oh,
that's all right.
I hope it comes back.
I'm sure it will.
Do you prefer to work? Oh,
I remembered it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. Like a lot of the time, also when you're in that, you know, the AD calls for the camera up, the camera goes up, and then there's a bit of faff doing stuff, you know, checks or whatever, and they've called the things at the wrong time. And I'll quite often just, without even saying anything, I'll just start offering things up and move around, and then quite often you get a shout from the director or the DP saying, love that, let's do that. So it's like not even about verbal communication, but just showing things.
the visual.
And also I really want to mention this. You have, when there's talent in front of the lens, you have no qualms with just being like, listen, like I'm gonna lead, and you need to kind of stay like this sort of distance, you know, like.
Yeah.
I love this because this is what we do.
Communication
and
key.
yeah, and it's like, although you know that's not your position to say that, it's just helpful, you know, like you're cutting out the middleman and you're just helping things chug along.
Can you give me some examples of exactly what you are talking to talent about? What?
I try and keep it to a minimum, but yeah, generally it's just little details about the shot. I try and work out, you know, if someone's going to be standing or sitting, that's a really good one to try and get some info about before you do it. And obviously rehearsals are important, but you don't always get enough rehearsals, and you need to help yourself out wherever you can. So it's like, which foot are you going to start with? Or do you lean forward before you stand up? Or let's try and keep the pace even until this point. Or, you know, there's so many things that we discuss, and I'm happy to do that because it helps me and it helps them. There's just more chance of the shot being successful if you make that communication.
Tips for newer actors working with Steadicam, what would you give them?
I mean, communicate is just like the key thing. It's like if they need to know something from me or the operator, the DP, whoever, just ask.
What percentage of the time are you setting the pace?
That's a tricky one. That's entirely dependent on the shot, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
I've got a good point that I want to interject. I think it's really valuable that, you know, the operator is making those suggestions or asking questions or just, you know, subtle things just to help. But you don't want to create a bond with the talent that's then makes you the immediate point of contact.
That's exactly why I said I keep the chat to a minimum, and it's just like I'm trying to extract key points.
Comes down to that hierarchy again.
It does. The system.
We can
call it. We can't call it that.
We can't call it that. We need, you know, like there's old parts of this industry that we need to stray from. And
why do you think hierarchy is one of them?
Because we're all human beings, and we all have a specific role, you know, and some people aren't stepping up. You know, we all just have our specific roles, and we don't always need to treat people who are quote unquote in the role below us with, you know, less respect than the people above us.
But I don't think it means anything about respect.
No, it's not. Well, I don't know.
Treating people fairly and understanding everyone's job roles, I think, and not asking something outside of the job role, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
because I think
true.
For talent to know there is a hierarchy means that they're going to be going to the person that they actually need to have a conversation with, because the director and the DP shouldn't be at the same place on the line for talent to look at, you know.
No.
And so I mean, so Haley and I always get into little arguments about networking. So this is another bad word that we talk about. Yeah.
One thing I would say is that as an operator, you see more and more, it's quite common actually for operators to step up to direct at some point and to move into directing, because you are the closest person to the talent.
Yeah.
You're the one who's
When they call cut, you're the one looking at them
you're
first.
through the eyepiece,
Yeah.
you know. So you see a lot of that feedback, and you hear those conversations between directors and talent as well. So you do pick a lot of that up.
And getting the permission from the director and DP to have that conversation too sometimes.
For sure.
Yeah, some directors, they're very helpful. They're very precise. They know exactly what they want. Like I just shot something with a new director a few weeks ago, and she was great. She was like super precise with everything, like even like down to frame rates, down to
Wow.
like lensing, and which is kind of bizarre because it
Yeah.
kind of takes it doesn't take me out of the equation, but it gives me less stuff to be creative about. But you know, we had a good relationship and we were bouncing ideas off of each other. But she was very precise with what she wanted.
I've never worked with a director that calls out lenses, and I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, I do. I don't like it.
I have.
Oh, okay. And so this is the first time you worked with a director that calls
Yeah.
out lenses? Okay.
I actually didn't mind it. I thought it was great. And
Did you find that they were the right suggestion? For the
yeah,
shot?
they
That's
they
good.
were.
Well, that's
I mean,
important.
well,
yeah.
not always, but you know,
I
it's
feel like that should still be a conversation probably between the DP and the director, I reckon, in my opinion.
yeah.
I like having a lot of control.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like lens choice, that I love working with directors that like lean on me for that creative support. And so it's like eventually I know, because I'm mostly a narrative, eventually they know what lenses they kind of tend to go to if we haven't already established it for like that person's close up, you know? So they're like, this is for the 40, right? And I'm like, it is for the 40. And it almost feels like a proud point because
Yeah.
we've had that conversation, and
For
I'm
sure.
now like,
yeah.
If
they
you've
know that they
established-
love that, you know?
If you're establishing a look
Yeah.
and that requires specific lens choices and focal
Yeah.
lengths, then I think that's probably fine.
Yeah. So you've had directors call out lens swaps.
Yeah, not too often.
Okay. And it goes well, or?
It generally ends with the DP walking over and having a conversation about it. Because, like, you know, they want to make sure that we're not wasting time.
Yeah.
Particularly the AD as well. They'll be
Yeah.
like, let's make sure we're right.
That's
about
the
this.
right thing. Yeah.
Not to undermine the director, but there's a lot of things to consider.
Close
when-
focus, your
Yeah,
depth of
close
field,
focus.
magnification.
Camera movement,
Yeah.
talent's movement,
Everything.
all of it.
Dom's like the outlier in this conversation.
Yeah.
You're
I
playing
feel-
devil's advocate. It's
Yeah,
kind of
no, I
amazing.
just
That's
quite,
good.
I
That's
just
what we
quite
need.
like.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. She was not calling out lens swaps.
Oh,
That
okay.
would be a very-
Got it.
That would, you know, if she was like, right, now we're going to go to the 50 or
Yeah.
now we're
Got
75
Got
or whatever,
it,
then I would
okay.
be like, oh, okay. well,
That's what I thought you meant.
No,
because
no,
that
no,
is
no,
like
no.
a fear
Wait,
of mine.
No,
Okay.
we were having discussions and she was like, this would be nicer on the 25.
Okay.
And I'd be like, okay, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
in agreement.
Okay. That sounds
Or
great.
she would be like, oh, can we go on the 35 for this one? I'd be like, oh,
What would you be? Would you be like, I'm 32?
Always wider.
25? Yeah.
Always wider.
Is he always wider? Is that your style?
No, not
Yeah.
really. Actually, I don't. think
It
so.
was.
Yeah.
For a
It
while.
was, yeah. And
No.
I'm kind of trying to get away from it. a little bit.
Why? Because you've just, your whole reel is just wide lenses swinging handheld.
There's a lot of, there's a lot
Since
of
we
wide
watched
in there.
Bardo,
Oh, is Bardo long
Joking.
lenses? Oh.
it's wide. It's very wide.
Oh, got it. I haven't
Very
seen
wide.
it. Okay. Yeah. I love 90s action thrillers, and so I love, and like rom-coms. So I
Name one.
love long lenses.
Come on, name one action thriller.
Any of the fucking ones with Harrison Ford. What is it? The series where he's a spy, the American Spy. They came out with a new one with John Krasinski in like Amazon that I never watched.
Series
I
with
don't know.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I've no
So good. I don't have service on my phone. But it's In Danger Thunder. But yeah, Harrison Ford. And then there's like a Polanski Harrison Ford film in the 90s that was set in Paris. That was like incredible. And it's like super long zooms and
Nice.
very slow builds. But no, these like 90s thrillers, like the Dolly, they had like weird Zolly things happening, but in a not cliche way, in like a really interesting way. And so when I started in film, I always went to like the longest lens for the close-up. I always went to like these very like firm rules because I had a specific style that I liked. And then like as I got further into like developing things, I was like, oh my God, I need to stay away from long lenses. It's a problem. Like
That's the thing, though. That's like developing your style over
Mhm.
time and making mistakes
Yeah.
and understand that these things don't work.
and clear of danger, I'm gonna figure it out. What the hell is that guy's name? The spy.
You have a
You-
laptop in front of you.
I don't know.
No
Do I have
internet.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Let's
you
look.
should have Wi-Fi.
Let's check. Let's see.
I'm keen to know how.
There it is. In clear and present danger. It's
Clear and
Clancy.
present danger.
It's what the hell? What's his name though? they're all named separately, so you don't know that they're like a trilogy, but they are Tom Clancy's novel.
Oh, right. Okay.
Jack Ryan. Those movies are like beyond good. Like, we should watch those movies. They're fucking incredible. And
I've
they're
never
just,
seen them.
oh my God, even just like camera work wise, like you're watching them and you're like, it's so fucking good. And then like The Hunt for the Red October, that's a good one too. Long lenses in a submarine. Some fun stuff. Anyway, so yeah, developing style.
Can you notice us being like, yeah, we don't
You're
know
like, we have no idea. I'm gonna show you guys one.
I want to watch some.
I'll watch one with you. But okay, and then we have some wide lenses. Okay, so let me ask you like the most cliche question for someone who likes a wide lens. How did you feel about the Favorite a few years ago?
The Favorite?
Didn't watch it, did you?
No, I'm terrible.
With like 8mm lenses.
I'm terrible.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
I've got one of their film cans at home.
Really?
Picked it up at Kodak or some lab. I was at a lab and needed a couple cans and it just had the sticker on it.
That's crazy.
Sick.
Nice
so
little
interesting.
bit of film memorabilia. If anyone wants to buy that on eBay,
you should put it up. What's the longest lens you've had on your rig?
Do you know what? On one of my first ever jobs, Steadicam jobs, it was anamorphic, but it was I think it was a 135.
Jesus, fuck.
Might have just been 100, but it was like second shot of the day, maybe even first.
Are you
And
okay?
I was like, the DP looked at me like, yeah, that's fine, right? And I was like, yeah, that's fine, man.
Are you okay? What was your stop?
I don't know.
How close were they to the lens?
Not that close. It wasn't an easy shot, but
Same.
actually went pretty well. The camera build was super inert.
Yeah,
It's a nice
super
phrase.
inert.
It's a nice phrase if you like to throw
that should
around.
be in
It was super long and heavy, so it actually flew pretty nicely.
Oh, that's nice. I once like had just to test one of my Steadicam ops, Christian Evans, who is now in Atlanta, and he's awesome. But I put 100 on at like a 2
Spherical
minimum focus, spherical, and he had to follow this like soccer ball being kicked around
low
a
mode
field.
as well. Low mode. Oh yeah, that's not good.
I'm a horrible
loves you.
person. Yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I love it. But style. So you're moving away from wide lenses. Where are you headed to? Where's your journey taking you?
Interesting. I don't really know, to be honest. I'm just taking every project as it comes. And just, like there'll be projects that deem, let's shoot this fucking wide.
Yeah, for sure.
But
are you like still trying to like naturally you're like, that's a 25? Or are you now like questioning more like maybe it could be a 32, maybe it could be a 40?
Yeah. I think, yeah, I don't really know the answer to that question. I'm just kind of, I'm trying to be less like restrictive with things, because I was always like favoring wide lenses and stuff. And
okay. And then what are your favorite setups at the moment?
Were they like wide and shallow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a look,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Shallow too is an
Yeah.
interesting thing. I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when DPs start out, they start shallow before finding what their perfect shoot stop is.
Start shallow and deep,
Yeah.
or somewhere in between.
See, I'd never really wanted to do that. I always knew that everything needed to be 2.8 or deeper.
We were kind of like post 5D generation where like we were aware of the fact that super shallow is not that helpful and also not that nice.
Yeah.
So.
I came up working with Hawk, and so when they had the T1s, I was just like,
Yeah.
whoa, look at these T1s.
They are really beautiful, though,
Focus
to be
pullers
fair.
are
Like,
nightmare.
Yeah. Yes. I remember my first project at AFI in LA, like my literal first project. We all had to crew for each other, all the DPs, and I like set it to a 1 for this one scene. And this small child of a DP was just like, Indiana, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. I'm like, it's okay. Just like get whatever you can get. And he was just like, and the poles are like this big to get like an inch. It was so funny. I was on 110 or something. It was insane. It was so fun. But yeah, now, okay. So you're now more like a 2.8 to 5.6 world.
yeah, I mean, I think I've always kind of been like that. I very rarely shoot wide open. I just really don't like it.
Same.
I
yeah.
just really don't like it.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you saying?
It just depends on what you're shooting.
Yeah.
I think entirely depends on the project. Like we had this conversation about super speeds wide open on a thing that we did. I really love that as a look, but like not for everything for sure.
Yeah. I'm like naturally at a 4.56 now. Like on most things I shoot.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Is that a congrats thing?
I feel
Large
like it
format or
shows-
Super 35?
Super 35.
Probably shows experience.
Interesting. I want to
too.
talk about something.
Yeah.
I want to talk about AFI
Yeah.
in the States.
Sure.
So tell me about your journey there.
Sure.
Oh, wow.
There's a whole episode about it, but we can talk about it.
I just don't really know much about AFI.
Okay. Well, what do you want to know from a DP perspective, or because there's 5 disciplines?
Yeah, from a DP's perspective, I want to know kind of what the average age people are when they go there.
Okay.
I want to know how established are you before you go in?
Yeah, all over the place. So it was like the most terrifying interview process. And I actually only applied when I was 22 because on the website it says you can't apply if you're below 21. But there was an 18-year-old DP from Denmark in our program. So that's not true. You also don't need a degree to go. You can go at any time. So you'll just get a certificate instead of like a master's. But the range of my class specifically was 18 to probably like 35, 36. But my operator, Stas, who I work with all the time, he went into the DP class when he was 44. So
wow.
There are people like of all ages. And the same thing for all ages means for backgrounds and experience level, life experience. So there are some people that came in only from documentary. There's some people that came in who are stills photographers. There's some people who came in who are established commercial DPs. And I mean, I think the thing you're learning the most out of that program, the reason why I went was because I wanted to be at the same level of the people that I would probably grow with after graduation. I mean, that's why it's a famous film school, is because, yeah, you learn things and like it's great and you're collaborative and you're a narrative storyteller. But at the same time, you finally have a chance to meet 128 people that are all at the same level of you. And when you get out, you'll probably work with and continue to work with.
Nice. That's a great sales pitch.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I love it. And you have people who hate it. Obviously, like everything in life.
I think
but
that's the same with film schools across the board.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
It's a Marmite
Yeah,
thing.
it doesn't.
Do you get that?
No.
Do you get that reference?
No, what is that? Do you want to explain that reference?
It's a very British thing.
Yeah.
You're a Marmite.
No,
Yes, but I thought that was Australian.
The whole slogan is you either love it or you hate it.
Oh, but isn't Marmite Australian?
No. That's Vegemite.
Oh, that's Vegemite.
Devil's work.
Wait, so what's Marmite then?
It's kind of the same.
Similar.
But what is it made out of?
I feel like the only difference is that Marmite is
Yeast
silky.
extract.
Yeast.
Marmite's like silky and Vegemite's like matte.
I heard the proper way of eating it is with butter, right? You
On
have to have
toast.
on hot toast.
Yeah.
Hot toast.
Mm.
Have you never had it?
No, I've had
That's
Vegemite.
That's where we're
Okay.
going after this
Well,
podcast.
We've
Yeah.
got Marmite in the house, so
Yeah. Vegemite, I was in Sydney for a while, and that's all that family ate in the morning. So I'm very well versed in that, how you have to eat it. You know what
I
I
bet
mean?
their breath stinks.
I don't know.
Let's get off Marmite.
Yeah.
Dating in the industry. Do you date on set? Do you date off set?
I definitely don't date on set. Wait, what does that actually define that?
Like
Please?
you date the crew. Because in LA, everyone works in film.
Has been done.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in London, not everyone works in film. So it's like, I think, a little easier to date out of film crew vibes, right?
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of important that if you're dating someone, they understand that when you say you're going to be finished at 8, you might not be finished at 8. And I
Mhm.
know that applies to a lot of different jobs, but particularly in ours,
Yeah.
we go overtime a lot in short form.
Do you recommend dating in film? Because they understand the crew and the
I think
vibe.
that's for sure a big plus. Definitely. Not exactly sure I'd
But also a
recommend.
big negative because you'll never see each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
So going a little more into like working with talent on both of your departments, like, well, both of your jobs, what are some of the things that you talk to actors about? I know we talked a little bit about Steadicam in that regard, but with DPing, what kind of relationships are you having with people on set on like technical notes given, or what you're mindful of? Do you like to give notes to talent with your director, or do you prefer to change, kind of tell the op or tell your focus puller like they're going to miss that mark, and just not tell them because they're always missing that mark? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think my thing is that I always just love the director just to have that responsibility. I just don't really want to muddy the water at all.
So do you go to the director and go
So I
like,
would-
they're
I would-
missing that by 1.5 feet every time?
Yeah, I would see something and then I'd be like, oh, you know,
Mhm.
do you reckon you can just have a word and just pull so and so up on that?
Do you have directors that are like, just tell them?
No, not really, because I would just be like, you you know, you need to kind of.
I don't want to deal with that.
This needs to happen. I don't want to. I don't want to have that rapport.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary. I think, you know, from time to time, it's nice to have that communication, and also it's very nice to introduce yourself to the talent and just so they know who you are. You're not like this
floating person around them, looking at them, like trying to figure out what the light is, and
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
which one is this one?
Or
Yeah.
good eye contact and
Yes.
you're staring at light.
Yeah.
That's also one of the most hilarious things, is where you're like staring at someone's face and you're just figuring something out, and they just kind of like, especially when they're a young actor and they're looking around and they kind of don't want to look at you, but at the same time they know that.
I always just am like pretty close to them. I'm like here, and I'm just like one
Oh,
sec.
you're
I'm just looking at the
here
light.
kind of person?
I'm a here kind
I'm
of
like
person.
a sort of 3 meter kind of person.
Oh, I'm
which
no,
makes
I'm
it
a
even
close
worse.
person. I'm a very close person. Yeah, you're just in the shadows.
I'm like behind
looking.
3 other people. Like.
No, I like getting pretty close. Yeah, I'm fine.
Do you know that one of the things I find also really funny? This is really good for actors to know as well.
Great.
When you jump in with your light meter, I'm not handing it to you.
Is that a thing
No
people
way.
have done? They've tried to grab
Yeah,
it.
like
No way.
inexperienced. Yeah, especially in like fashion and beauty.
How
and stuff like that.
interesting is that? I've
They're like,
never
"No, we're
had that
doing
happen.
props."
They're like having stuff done, and then I'll jump in with my light meter, and they're like, "Oh," and it's just a really awkward scenario where it's like,
That's funny.
it's fun. They're obviously very inexperienced.
Yes.
I think always take the light meter.
Yeah.
Or they, take the light meter.
If you have Dom on
I'll-
set with you, take
yeah,
his
I'll
light
take it.
meter. Yeah.
I'll do that for you.
Yeah. Other tips for like maybe newer actors, or if not, how can you tell the difference between a newer versus seasoned actor? What are the things you're seeing on set that make a difference?
For me, it's definitely going back to communication. It's like if they know something's going to be difficult for me. When an actor knows something's going to be hard for me, that's when I know that they've definitely done this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they give me the information without me having to ask or like probe for it.
Yeah.
You know? So that is important for me.
Yeah, I think also just them having an understanding of who everyone is already without knowing them. You know, like they see everyone on set and they kind of know who's doing what.
Yeah. Sometimes it really surprises me when we get to the end of the first day and the talent asks me what my job role is.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I've been standing in front of you holding the camera the whole day.
I know. It's
Or when they're like, quote unquote, is that heavy?
Oh yeah.
That's like that one.
I had
I sometimes think that's maybe just an icebreaker. They don't actually care, or they know that it's heavy.
Yeah.
You might just want to like open a conversation.
Have you met Kate? She's a cam op now. She's Steadicam op. Kate Icarus.
Yeah.
Icarus. Yeah, I always say Icarus. Flew too close to the sun there.
Yeah, we were sort of stepping up around the same time. I think maybe
amazing.
I did just a bit before, and we crossed paths a lot in optical support where we hire and buy equipment. And
So she's in one of our courses working with an operator for actors. And one of the things when we did her interview, she goes, the first thing I have to say is, yes, it's heavy. Because like that's the first question she's always getting on set.
yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's expensive.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what she
Is that
said.
what she said?
That's so funny. Yeah, no, she's
Universal.
great. Yeah, I know. Everyone understands it. And then anything, biggest technical mistake you've made on set?
I think years ago I shot a music video, and we shoot mainly 25 for music videos. Some
Frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
like time based, and we shot the whole thing 24. Director called me like 2 days later. He was like, "Oh, the whole thing's 24 FPS." Actually, I think it was 23,976 actually. And he was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Oh, because I thought we were like going for the the filmic look, like." It was like, "Yeah, but we always shoot 25." And I was like, "Yeah, but I just want."
Oh my god! I just that idea of the conversation happening. I totally get it. Yeah.
And it's just a bit like, oh god.
I actually did. I was doing it was a grad film, I suppose. It was a PhD film for one of my tutors at uni, and I was like,
whoa,
just
PhD
about-
film.
she was doing a PhD, and she asked us to crew it, and
That's insane.
we did shoot one day at like 24, or like one day at 25 and the rest at 24, which is like so dumb. I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah.
I was operating, so I'm partially responsible.
Yeah.
maybe
Double
but-
checking settings, maybe.
But like, you wouldn't expect to just do one day and then
Yeah,
switch it over.
that could be an
like,
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened, but
I think if the whole project's like it, then it's fine. Like you're saying, like the aspect ratio. Like if the whole project's like it, then it's fine.
Steadicam op, DP.
Correct.
Where would you define where your current careers are at?
I hadn't really been giving myself enough credit up until this point, and I'd kind of not been taking it seriously enough.
definitely.
Despite working regularly Yeah, I think this last year has been really good. It's I've grown quite a lot. I'm doing more diverse jobs, shoots rather, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's a slow but gradual trajectory for myself.
And where do you want to be? Where do you want to go?
I always said that commercials are just where I want to stay.
Okay.
But I actually think I don't think that's really for me. I think I've been shooting more and more shorts, and I think like narrative is the way that I want to go. Whether that be like a drama or a low budget feature, and then moving into well budgeted features and stuff, then that would be fun.
Okay. Austin.
That's good because it's a pretty similar answer to me, so you can take me with you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
If you operate handheld.
Yes. Where I'm at now, I mean, I only fully stepped up a year ago, last November.
Okay, congratulations.
Seems wild. Like, I
should
feel
celebrate.
Yeah, I should. The anniversary of the step up.
Yeah.
It's my last one, so
Yeah.
Celebrate it. But yeah, I think I'm really happy with the way it's gone, like the last year. And I was going to say this earlier, like I've had really good support from DPs, directors, producers that I used to assist with, and they still hire me as an operator, and that's been like really instrumental in me growing myself. Not only that, but obviously meeting new people. But yeah, particularly like thankful that those people trusted me and still trust me to shoot their projects.
And you want to go into narrative, you think? Or just like really going all over the place where you're not pigeonholed or whatever the hell it is?
I think I have quite a common answer for this.
Yeah.
In the UK at least. I don't know what it's like too much around the world, but I really enjoy short form.
Mm-hmm.
The work-life balance is fantastic, as we all know.
Nice.
So I do quite enjoy the fashion jobs, like fashion and commercials, and probably I'd love to do like 2 films a year and then do fashion and commercials.
Fill it in where you need to.
But also I kind of do have aspirations to shoot a few documentaries.
That'd be fun.
Maybe light them, but that's as far as I'd ever go down the lighting route.
You just don't want people to know you.
Coming out.
I had no interest in being a DP,
Secret
but I want to
DP.
shoot some documentaries.
I mean, I think as an op too, and I think you know this as well, it's like it's great for exercising your eye is like shooting docs, because you're always having to find where the frame is and use your space. And
I love that. Like, you know, I don't do it so much these days, but I was really into street photography at one point.
Right on.
And like that really helped me to like find frames anywhere. Yeah. And that's like an important part of the job, I think. Like, particularly when you're doing B-cam, you're chucked in a corner and it's like you don't have the space and thinking outside the box. And some of the best DPs I work with are very good at that. Yeah.
And let's romanticize film for a second. I know, like, you know, there's like the nitty gritty of it all, but what are your happiest sets? What does that look like? When, you know, when people ask like, what's your ideal date? Like, what's your ideal set?
That's quite tough.
Great breakfast.
Yeah. Nice. What?
Oh God. Like,
speak for the producers. What do you need?
All the options really.
Okay.
I'm quite a healthy breakfast person, and then it all goes downhill towards the end of the day. Mm-hmm. You know, when late break comes out. And
what are the snacks on set? What are the popular snacks in the UK on set? Crafty.
Come on.
I can't really think.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
There is definitely a blueprint.
Okay.
For the craft.
Okay.
It's generally pretty good and diverse as well.
It's usually like pretty healthy.
Okay.
Like we're thinking like protein balls.
Yeah.
Lots of like protein balls and like, you know, like dried fruit bars and shit.
Yeah.
You know? But like
dried mango.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm surprised I can't think of that because I'm a real snacker at work. I snack a lot.
Me too.
I graze throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I should be better answering this question.
My pockets at the end of the day
what
are
yours
just like full of wrappers.
I imagine yours are top notch.
Also, you mentioned crafty.
Yeah.
There's the odd crew member in the UK that uses the word crafty.
What do you guys say?
No, it's crafty.
You
I don't really say
don't use the
crafty.
word crafty.
I say craft.
Crafty is an American thing.
Oh. So you say craft.
Yeah.
Not crafty,
You don't
but
say
craft.
craft. You say
Yeah,
craft.
I do. No, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you say, Don?
Let's go eat.
Let's go eat.
I mean, the gummy, like fruit snacks are always like the number one
Yeah.
thing that's on set.
Yeah.
I love Ritz Bits.
Ritz Bits.
I love a Ritz Bits.
Like the Ritz biscuits.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
a
But
small.
yeah, the minis.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I love them.
That's
I
nice.
literally have just like wrappers coming out of me at the end of the day where I'm just like, and then I shove it in and we have to do something.
Yeah.
But I mean, lots of
San Pellegrino.
Yeah.
the
Like every flavor.
and LaCroix, lots of
Yeah.
LaCroix.
We don't have LaCroix.
We have lots of it. The limoncello one recently has been out
Really?
there.
It's good
Yeah.
shit. Have you ever had LaCroix?
No.
Oh, it's fucking good shit.
It's just like a different. You just know you're gonna have that if you're on set. Like I don't drink a lot of soda outside of it, but like you know you're gonna have a LaCroix or 4 on set. A lot of matcha, a lot of cold brew.
That's pretty good quality.
Yeah, and oat milk. I'm a coconut milk drinker, but
Yeah. We've got this
I
guy.
bring my own.
We've got this guy, the coffee medic.
Oh yeah.
He's like he's a medic, and medics never do anything on commercials. And so one day he was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to train as a barista."
That's
And
so fun.
He's like makes coffees. It works out cheap for
He
production.
saves lives and
He
makes coffees.
Saves production money.
Yeah.
He also saves lives.
Yeah.
Like, you know, obviously if someone's actually hurt or something,
Yeah.
he drops
Of
the
course.
coffee and
Yeah.
is
I hope so.
back to his duties. But it's just like, you know,
That's
extra
so
earner for
He's a
him.
real
Keeping him
character.
busy.
That's so fun.
He's a
a good
real
guy.
character.
What are the red flags and things that you're seeing on set these days with producers? Like, you know, you're getting a text, you know, you're getting an email. You ask a few questions. What are the things that you're like, this is not going to be a good job. This is not going to be an easy job.
Producers really pushing crew to the limit early on, before the jobs even happened. You know, like
Scheduling 17-hour days.
Yeah, or like one of the things that keeps happening now is when it's not APA, which is, you know, APA.
It's like the union rate, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the union
Standard.
for commercials
Yeah.
and stuff. One of the things that keeps happening when it's a non-APA job is an 11 plus 1 hour day
Oh,
instead of a 10 plus 1. So we all work on a 10 plus 1.
yeah.
And I think you'd agree with this. It's like more and more common that we're working 12-hour days, and it's like kind of expected. And we just need to stop.
Yeah.
It's got to stop.
French hours, I see.
I know. There was that film that came out recently where they just did French hours on everything, that huge one. What was
Oh,
it?
really?
Yeah, and they successfully were able to do it with British director.
Oh, really?
Martin and Martin
Braggenberg.
Exactly, yeah.
I think like in the first email, someone that asks the rate,
Mm-hmm. That's a red flag.
that's a red flag.
Oh, because you think they're fishing just for rate rather than skill.
There's a standardized rate and everyone knows it pretty
Yeah.
much.
Oh, okay, that's what you mean. And this is
so-
for commercial or narrative?
If you don't know it as a producer or a PM, then
Yeah.
either you're not experienced in that realm,
Yeah.
or you're probably just looking for a bargain.
Yeah. Right. And then narrative. Wait, actually, I do have a question about the UK stuff. You guys don't
Shoot.
really have cars, right?
Sorry, what?
Like do you take the subway to
No.
the tube or you drive?
Yeah,
It
get a full
depends.
Steadicam package. I just take
No,
the mic line
yeah, but
down.
you have a Steadicam pack. But do the majority of do they always have parking on set?
It is actually hard to come by a lot of the time.
Okay.
For short form.
So what are you doing?
It depends because on a proper commercial you got a unit base and there's
Yeah,
lots
yeah,
of parking.
yeah.
But even then, some of the unit bases can be pretty tight. London's not built for lots of cars.
So how are a lot of people making that work?
I think a lot of people get
Cabs or
Cabs.
public transport.
Really?
We've got
And does
really good
production
public
pay for cab?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
not
if you've got a
always.
genuine reason, if you're carrying kit, if you're a makeup artist or a camera assistant or something, then they will.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say
Tom's
that
like,
doesn't-
I don't know.
that doesn't always happen. I think crew are like, I'm going to get a cab and then.
Do you know what? It used to be one of my biggest things that I hated was struggling, like fighting to try and get a parking space as
Yeah.
a loader with all my kit, and then I'd rock up like having gotten on the tube and have to scale down all my kit.
Oh my God.
And then I get there and the DP's just rocked up with like no kit, or like, you know, someone's just
Yeah.
rolled in a parking space and you're like,
So frustrating.
Yeah.
Talk about hierarchy. Huh? Okay, one last question before we wrap us up, and I'll get you to start thinking about this now. So every podcast episode, I make them sing for me at the end. So think about whatever you want to sing, and I'll get you guys to individually sing us out.
I don't believe you.
I'm serious. I'll play you something.
Sing us out.
Yeah, you're going to sing us out. So, but first, there was
You're
something.
fucking with us.
No, I'm not. I swear to God. I've had
should've
2
done my
people
research,
sing us
shouldn't I?
out now. Yeah.
Should have done my research.
No,
2?
I'm starting it up.
Just 2?
Yeah, just 2. I've just
How
started
many?
it.
Yeah, okay. All right.
7 podcast episodes. 2 of the most recent have been sung out. It's been great.
What did they sing?
One was The Recipe for Making Love. It's a song. He's like, that's the recipe for making love. Yeah, it was like a whole thing. And then the other one just made up a song, a little like doodle, thing, dingle.
He made up a jingle.
Yeah, a jingle. A dingle.
Jingle.
I made up some dingle.
There's no way
yeah.
I'm making that up.
Okay, well, just think about what little excerpt you want to sing. But first, networking in London. Newer people to this industry. How do you recommend networking? What events, what resources, what not to do, what websites are good, what websites are not good, things like that.
I'm going to start with the obvious.
Okay.
Instagram,
DMing people?
Instagram, DM people.
Okay.
You know, if you're a camera trainee, from my experience, you want to meet focus pullers. They're the guys that hire you. So chat to them. But yeah, Instagram's like, it's accessible for everyone. And generally, if people are half decent human beings, they'll reply to you at least. Tell you whether they're looking for someone or not and take your CV, put you on the record. So
great.
Yeah, I think don't be afraid, no matter how good or bad your work is, to put it on Instagram as well. Because I think a lot of people struggle, inclusive of myself, putting work on Instagram. I'm trying to think what else. We've got numerous events throughout the year. We've got BSC, the BSC Expo, which is also really, really good.
Good vendors and stuff there too.
Yeah. Yeah, like the usual faces.
Yeah.
all the tech and stuff, and then also like after drinks and that kind of thing is
valuable.
Always a good place to meet new faces. Camerimage.
Hell yeah. Okay. I appreciate you guys coming on. Now, who wants to start by singing us off? Okay, why don't we all sing out saying, it's just too good to be true. Can't keep my eyes off of you. You feel like heaven to touch. I want to hold you so much. And that's it.
Right, okay, so it's sing it again.
Well, we're all going to do it together.
Yeah, but
it's just too good to be true. Can't keep my eyes off of you. You feel like heaven to touch.
I want to hold you so much.
As long as love is alive, I thank God I'm alive. Okay.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
Woo! You guys nailed it. Thank you guys so much. Let's wrap it out with where can we find you? What are your Instagram tags or your things?
Austin's
we'll link it below.
God, I hate saying it.
Austin's is at Aussie Spoon.
Okay.
OZZY Spoon.
And mine is Dom_Lake.
Awesome. Thanks guys so much for being here. Thanks everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.